Welcome, dear friend. Come in. Find a quiet space. Let's just breathe together for a moment. This is a time just for you. A time to let go of all the rushing, all the striving, all the little weights you've been carrying today. Imagine, if you will, sinking into the most comfortable chair you've ever known. A place where you feel completely safe, completely accepted, completely loved. This is what it feels like to rest in God's presence, in His lap. There's nothing you need to do here, nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to prove. Just be. Let your shoulders soften. Let your mind unclench. It's okay if your thoughts are still buzzing a little bit. Just notice them, and then just let them drift by like clouds in the evening sky. We're stepping away from the demands of the world, away from the constant noise, into a sacred quiet. You are here, right now, in a space where you are deeply held. It's a space of belonging, a place where every part of you, the tired parts, the hopeful parts, even the parts that feel a little broken, is welcome. There's a gentle hand here, ready to cup yours, to offer comfort and reassurance. You don't have to earn this peace. It's simply given. It's a gift, waiting for you to receive it. Just lean in. Feel that sense of safety wrapping around you, a warmth that reminds you you are never alone. You are seen. You are cherished. And right now, you are resting in the very heart of love itself. Take another slow, deep breath with me. In through your nose, letting your belly soften and expand, and then a long, gentle exhale out through your mouth, releasing any tension you might be holding. Again, breathe in peace. Breathe out anything that troubles you. This simple act of breathing is a small but powerful way to anchor yourself in the present moment, to acknowledge that you are here now, and that's enough. Sometimes, when we come to moments like this, our minds are still racing. We might be replaying conversations, worrying about tomorrow's tasks, or feeling the echoes of yesterday's disappointments. And that's perfectly normal. Don't fight those thoughts. Just notice them, acknowledge their presence, and then, with kindness and patience, invite them to step aside for a while. Imagine them as leaves floating down a gentle stream, drifting past you without needing your intervention. You don't have to grasp them. You can just watch them go.
This space, this quiet time with God, is like coming home after a very long journey. You've been out in the world, facing its demands, navigating its complexities. You've been strong, capable, resilient. But now, it's time to put down your bags, to take off your shoes, to simply be. There's no need to perform, no need to impress. God isn't looking for your accomplishments right now. He's simply delighted by your presence. Think of it this way. When a child climbs into their parent's lap, they don't bring a list of achievements or a meticulously planned presentation. They simply come as they are, seeking comfort, closeness, and unconditional love. That's the kind of invitation extended to you right now. Come as you are, with all your imperfections, all your weariness, all your unanswered questions. You are entirely welcome. There's a deep, abiding safety here, a sense that no matter what you face today, or what you might face tomorrow, in this moment, you're secure. It's a feeling of being utterly cherished, not because of what you do, but simply because you exist, because you are a beloved creation. This presence is tender, understanding, and infinitely patient. It sees beyond the surface, beyond the roles you play, and recognizes the beautiful, precious spirit within you. Sometimes we carry burdens we don't even realize are weighing us down. Little anxieties, unspoken fears, old hurts that linger. This is a safe space to gently place those down, even just for a little while. You don't have to solve them right now. You don't have to analyze them. Just acknowledge them. Hold them gently in your mind, and then imagine offering them up, releasing them into this vast, loving presence. It's as if you're carefully handing them over to someone strong enough, kind enough to hold them for you. This feeling of being held, of being safe in God's lap, is not a fleeting emotion. It's a profound truth. It's the truth that you are deeply connected to something far greater than yourself, something that is pure love and unwavering peace. It's the source of all comfort, all healing, all wisdom. And you, dear friend, are invited to draw from that source freely.
As you continue to breathe, allow your body to relax even more. Let go of any tension in your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Feel the gentle support beneath you, holding you steady. Imagine a soft, warm light surrounding you, a light that brings comfort and quietude to every cell of your being. This light is God's presence, always there, always available, always inviting you into deeper rest. This quiet connection is a powerful antidote to the loneliness and isolation that can sometimes creep into our lives. Even when surrounded by people, we can feel profoundly alone. But here, in this sacred space, you are truly known, truly seen, and truly connected. You are part of something vast and beautiful, a tapestry of creation woven with love. Perhaps there are feelings of shame or guilt that you carry, moments you regret, words you wish you hadn't said, choices you wish you could undo. Know that in this presence, there is only compassion. There is no judgment here, only understanding. You are invited to bring those feelings too, not to dwell on them in self-condemnation, but to lay them down at the feet of endless grace. Imagine a gentle hand reaching out, not to scold, but to soothe, to offer forgiveness and a path to new beginnings. This is a place where you can be honest with yourself and with God, knowing that you are met with unconditional love. This sense of deep emotional safety allows you to simply be, to stop performing, to stop striving, to let your guard down. It's a rare and precious gift in a world that often demands so much from us. Here, you don't need to be strong or wise or cheerful. You can just be weary or sad or confused. And it's all okay. All of it is held within this loving embrace. Imagine resting your head against a gentle shoulder, feeling the steady rhythm of a heartbeat that has been present since the beginning of time. That heartbeat is the pulse of creation, the rhythm of love itself. And you are nestled right there, perfectly at peace. Sometimes the world outside feels chaotic and uncertain. News cycles are overwhelming. Relationships are strained. The future seems unclear. In these moments, it's even more crucial to find our anchor, our steady ground. This presence is that anchor. It's a place of unshakable peace, a sanctuary where you can recharge your spirit, steady your heart, and remember that even in the midst of life's storms, there is a quiet calm always available to you.
This welcome isn't just for now, it's always open. This invitation to rest in God's presence is extended to you every single day, every single moment. It's not something you have to earn or achieve, it's simply there, waiting for you to accept it. It's like a constant, gentle hum in the background of your life, a melody of love that's always playing, even when you're too busy to hear it. So, as we settle further into this quiet time, just soak in this feeling. The feeling of being completely and utterly welcome. The feeling of being safe. The feeling of being loved beyond measure. Let it permeate every part of you, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Allow yourself the profound grace of simply resting here in the gentle, boundless embrace of God's presence. This is where true belonging begins. This is where your heart can finally find its home. As we continue to rest here, still feeling that gentle embrace, let's turn our thoughts to a profound gift, a beautiful design woven into the very fabric of existence, the rhythm of rest. It's something we hear about, perhaps even understand intellectually, but truly living it in our fast-paced world can feel like trying to catch mist. Yet this divine rhythm, often called Sabbath, isn't just an old tradition. It's an invitation, a deep breath offered to our souls. Think back, way back to the very beginning, the grand story of creation. Everything burst forth in magnificent order, light and darkness, sky and sea, land and vegetation, sun, moon, and stars, teeming creatures of the water and air, and finally, humanity itself, made with such care and intention. Imagine the energy, the power, the sheer creative force involved in bringing all of that into being. It's almost beyond our comprehension. And yet, after 6 days of this glorious work, what did God do? He rested. Not because he was tired in the way we get exhausted after a long day. God doesn't get tired. But he ceased from his work. He blessed that 7th day and made it holy.
This act of divine rest was not a pause out of necessity, but an act of setting apart, an act of consecration. It was a declaration, a pattern, a profound blessing laid out for us. It was God saying, "This rhythm, this cycle of work and rest is good. It is essential. It is how life is meant to flourish." He showed us by his own example that true strength doesn't always come from doing more, from endless activity, but from learning to cease, to simply be, and to trust. The heart of Sabbath is not about rules or restrictions, though sometimes it has been misunderstood that way. At its core, it's about freedom. It's freedom from the constant pressure to produce, freedom from the endless chase of more, freedom from the fear that if we stop, everything will fall apart. It's freedom to reconnect, to restore, to remember. In a world that constantly whispers, "You are what you do," Sabbath gently reminds us, "You are loved, simply because you are." It's a weekly rebellion against the relentless demands of a consumer-driven culture that tells us our worth is tied to our output, our productivity, our possessions. When we embrace Sabbath, even in a small way, we are declaring that our identity is found not in our achievements, but in being a beloved child of God. Consider the natural world around us. A farmer knows that the land needs to lie fallow, to rest between growing seasons, to remain fertile and productive. We see seasons of growth, followed by seasons of dormancy, renewal, and quiet preparation. Trees shed their leaves and conserve energy in winter, only to burst forth with new life in spring. Animals hibernate. The earth itself breathes in cycles. We are part of this natural world, and our own bodies and spirits are designed with these same needs for rhythm, for balance, for restorative pauses. If we constantly push without allowing for seasons of rest, we become depleted, worn thin, brittle. We lose our joy, our creativity, our very sense of purpose. Sabbath is an invitation to step off the treadmill, just for a moment, or for a day, or even for an hour, to step away from the incessant need to be doing something. It's an opportunity to consciously choose to cease from our labor, from our worries, from our striving, and to simply receive, to receive God's peace, to receive His love, to receive the gift of the present moment.
Think about the feeling of being truly present with someone you love, without distractions, without a looming deadline, without an agenda. That deep, unhurried connection is what Sabbath offers us with God, and through that connection, with ourselves and with others. It's a time to delight in simple things, to notice the beauty around us, to cultivate gratitude. It's a time to remember that life is more than just tasks and responsibilities. It's also about wonder, joy, and connection. Sometimes the idea of rest can even bring up a kind of anxiety. If I stop, what will happen? I have too much to do. I'll fall behind. These are very real concerns in a world that often punishes slowing down. But the invitation of Sabbath is an invitation to trust. It's a whisper from God's heart saying, "I will hold your world together while you rest. I will provide. I will ensure that what truly needs to be done gets done." It's an act of letting go and acknowledgement that we are not the ones ultimately in control, and that's actually a tremendous relief. The Israelites, God's ancient people, were given the Sabbath as a commandment, but it wasn't a burden, it was a profound liberation. They had been slaves in Egypt, forced to work relentlessly, without rest. The Sabbath was a tangible reminder that they were no longer slaves to Pharaoh or to endless labor. They were now free, called to a different way of living, a way of trusting their provider. It was a sign of their covenant with God, a visible symbol of His care and their devotion. And that liberation, that freedom from endless toil, is still offered to us today through the spirit of Sabbath.
So how do we begin to embrace this divine rhythm in our modern lives? It doesn't always have to look like a rigid, legalistic observance of a specific day. While setting aside a full day can be a powerful practice, the spirit of Sabbath can also be woven into the fabric of our everyday lives. It begins with intentionality. It's making a conscious choice to carve out moments, hours, or even a full day where we deliberately stop. Stop working, stop striving, stop checking emails, stop scrolling, stop consuming, and instead turn our attention to things that refresh our souls.
This might look different for everyone. For some, it might be a quiet morning, dedicated to prayer and reading, with a warm cup of coffee and no distractions. For others, it might be a walk in nature, unplugging from technology and simply observing the beauty of creation. It could be spending unhurried time with loved ones, truly listening, truly connecting, without the pressure of other tasks waiting. It could be engaging in a hobby, purely for enjoyment, with no expectation of productivity or perfection. It could simply be sitting in silence, allowing your mind to quiet and your spirit to settle. This practice also helps us cultivate gratitude. When we pause, we create space to notice the blessings that often get lost in the rush. The warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the simple comfort of a home, the taste of good food. These small moments of delight are everywhere, waiting for us to notice them. Sabbath trains our hearts to see and appreciate them, reminding us that life itself is a sacred gift. Embracing the divine rhythm of rest is an act of trust. It's trusting that God is good, that He provides, and that He desires our well-being. It's trusting that we are not solely responsible for holding the world on our shoulders. It's a profound surrender, releasing our grip on control and allowing ourselves to be held by a greater, more loving power. So, as you continue to rest here, consider how you might invite more of this sacred rhythm into your own life. What small act of ceasing could you practice this week? Where could you create a little pocket of rest, a mini Sabbath, just for your soul? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be intentional. Allow the thought of Sabbath to settle into your heart, not as a command, but as a loving invitation. An invitation to step into a deeper kind of freedom, a more profound sense of peace, and a richer understanding of God's boundless love and care for you. He desires your rest. He delights in your renewal, and He waits for you in those quiet moments, ready to restore your soul. Rest here, dear one. Feel the truth of this divine rhythm echoing in your own spirit. You are worthy of rest. You are made for peace, and in His embrace, you will find it. As we continue to dwell in this quiet, comforting presence, our hearts a little more open to the idea of divine rest, let's bring our thoughts now to the practical side of things. We've talked about the heart of Sabbath, the beautiful intention behind it, but let's be honest. Living in our modern world often feels like being caught in a whirlwind, Life spins fast, demanding our attention, pulling us in 1,000 different directions. We can feel stretched thin, frayed at the edges, longing for a pause that seems perpetually out of reach. But the good news is, finding stillness isn't about escaping the world entirely. It's about learning to cultivate quiet spaces within the world, within your everyday existence. It's about weaving small, sacred rhythms into the fabric of your life, like tiny threads of peace. Let's be realistic. For many of us, a full, unbroken day of traditional Sabbath rest might not be feasible every week due to work, family responsibilities, or other commitments. And that's okay. The spirit of Sabbath, the intention of rest and renewal, is what truly matters. We can begin by looking for ways to honor that spirit in smaller, more manageable doses.
One of the simplest, yet most profound ways to find stillness is through conscious breathing. We breathe all the time without thinking about it, of course, but taking even just a minute, 2 or 3 times a day, to simply notice your breath can be transformative. Stop what you're doing for a moment. Close your eyes if you can, or just soften your gaze. Place a hand on your belly. Feel it rise as you slowly inhale through your nose and fall as you gently exhale through your mouth. Do this 5 or 10 times. This isn't about changing your breath, it's about paying attention to it. This simple act anchors you in the present, quiets the racing mind, and reminds your body that it's safe to relax, even for a moment. It's a mini Sabbath you can carry with you anywhere. Another powerful, practical rhythm is creating sacred pauses throughout your day. Our days are often a continuous stream of activity. We rush from one thing to the next, barely finishing one task before we're already mentally on to the next. What if, between activities, you intentionally created a small pause? For instance, after finishing a work task, before opening a new email or starting the next project, take 30 seconds to just sit. Look out a window. Take a sip of water. Stretch. This creates a tiny gap, a moment of transition that prevents your day from becoming one long, undifferentiated blur. It allows your mind to reset, to let go of the last thing, and to gently prepare for the next. These micro rests accumulate, creating a subtle but significant shift in your overall sense of calm. What about technology? Our devices are incredible tools, but they are also major contributors to the whirlwind. Notifications constantly pull our attention, making true focus and stillness difficult. A very practical rhythm you can adopt is setting boundaries with your technology. This could mean specific tech-free times each day, perhaps the first hour after waking or the last hour before bed. It could mean turning off non-essential notifications, so your phone only alerts you to truly important calls or messages. It could even declare certain areas of your home screen-free zones, like the dining table or the bedroom. When we consciously choose to put our devices down, we create space for connection with ourselves, with loved ones, and with God. We allow our minds to wander freely, to dream, to simply be, without constant digital interruption. Beyond these tiny moments, let's think about how to carve out slightly larger chunks of stillness. Could you designate one evening a week as a quiet evening? An evening where there are no screens, no work, no chores, just quiet activities that nourish your soul. Perhaps reading a physical book, listening to calming music, engaging in a creative hobby, or having a slow, unhurried conversation with a family member. The key is to protect this time, to treat it as sacred, just as God set apart the seventh day. It's a deliberate choice to step out of the daily grind and into a space of gentle renewal. For those who can, consider building a half Sabbath into your week. This might be a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday morning, where you intentionally cease from typical work or chores. During this time, you might engage in activities that bring you joy and peace. A long walk in nature, cooking a comforting meal with no time pressure, visiting a peaceful place like a park or a garden, or simply enjoying extended time in prayer or meditation. The intention is to let go of the pressure to be productive and instead focus on being present, on restoration, and on simply existing in God's grace. Another beautiful rhythm for modern life is engaging in nature. So often we are surrounded by concrete and artificial light. Stepping outside, even for just 10 or 15 minutes, can profoundly impact our sense of stillness. Listen to the birds, feel the breeze on your skin, notice the texture of a leaf, watch the clouds drift by. Nature has a way of slowing us down, reminding us of a pace that existed long before our hurried schedules. It reconnects us to the vastness and beauty of creation, helping us to put our own stresses into perspective. It's a gentle reminder that there's a world beyond our to-do lists, a world sustained by a divine order that functions perfectly without our constant intervention.
What about creative outlets or hobbies? Many of us, as adults, have let go of the things we once loved to do for pure enjoyment. Whether it's drawing, painting, playing an instrument, writing, gardening, or anything else that engages your hands and heart, these activities can be powerful ways to find stillness. When we are deeply immersed in a creative pursuit, our minds quiet, our worries recede, and we enter a state of flow that is inherently restful and deeply satisfying. It's not about producing a masterpiece. It's about the joy of the process itself, the gentle focus, the opportunity to express something beautiful simply for the sake of it. Cultivating a rhythm of reflection and gratitude can also bring profound stillness. At the end of your day, or even during a short break, take a few moments to reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be grand gestures. They can be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. This practice shifts our focus from what is lacking or what we need to do to what is already abundant and good in our lives. Gratitude is a powerful gateway to peace, anchoring us in a positive reality and reminding us of God's constant provision. Finally, let's touch upon the rhythm of sleep. In our go-go-go culture, sleep is often viewed as a luxury or even a weakness, something to be cut short to fit in more work or activity. But sleep is a profound act of trust and surrender. It's our body's natural Sabbath, a time when our minds and bodies truly rest and repair. Establishing a consistent, healthy sleep routine, going to bed and waking up around the same time, creating a relaxing bedtime ritual, ensuring your sleep environment is conducive to rest, is one of the most fundamental ways to cultivate stillness in your life. When you intentionally prioritize sleep, you are honoring your body as a temple and trusting that God will sustain you through your rest, preparing you for the day ahead.
Remember, finding stillness in the whirlwind isn't about perfection. It's about progress, about gently experimenting with what works for you, and about being kind to yourself when you inevitably miss a beat. Start small. Choose one or two of these practical rhythms that resonate with you and try to implement them this week. Don't strive for an immediate overhaul. Aim for gentle integration.
Each small act of choosing stillness, each intentional pause, is like planting a tiny seed of peace in the garden of your life. Over time, these seeds will grow, creating pockets of calm that can sustain you even when the winds of life blow strong. You are worthy of this peace, dear friend. God designed you for it. He beckons you to step out of the whirlwind, even for just a moment, and into His enduring calm. So, as you rest here now, let these thoughts gently settle. Imagine yourself weaving these practical rhythms into the fabric of your days. You are not meant to be perpetually exhausted. You are meant to flourish, to thrive, to experience the deep, sustaining peace that comes from truly finding stillness right here, right now, in His loving presence. As we continue to rest in this gentle, loving presence, having explored the profound invitation of divine rest and the practical ways we can weave stillness into our busy lives, let's now turn our hearts to something even deeper: how we actively nourish our souls. Just as our bodies need food and drink to sustain them, our spirits need a different kind of sustenance, a spiritual nourishment that brings deep renewal, peace, and strength. This comes through what we might call spiritual habits, not rigid rules, but gentle practices that open us up to God's life-giving presence. Sometimes, in our modern world, we focus so much on what we do that we forget about who we are at our core. Our souls, the very essence of us, can feel parched, hungry, and weary if they're not regularly refreshed. Imagine a beautiful garden. It can't thrive just on sunlight and occasional rain. It needs consistent care, intentional watering, rich soil, protection from harsh elements. Our souls are much the same. They need intentional, consistent care to truly flourish and reflect the beauty God placed within us. One of the most foundational ways to nourish your soul is through a consistent rhythm of quiet time with God. This isn't about an hour-long, perfectly structured devotion every single day. It's about simply showing up. It might be 10 minutes first thing in the morning, before the day's demands take hold. It might be a quiet moment in the middle of the afternoon or just before bed. The length isn't as important as the intention, the conscious choice to set aside time to simply be with God, to listen, to open your heart. In these quiet moments, you might simply sit in silence, allowing your thoughts to settle, inviting God's presence to fill the space. You might read a short passage from the Bible, not as a textbook, but as a loving letter from a friend. Don't rush through it. Read slowly, letting the words sink into your heart. What whispers to you? What resonates with your spirit? It's like savoring a delicious meal rather than just gulping it down. God's words are meant to be chewed on, digested, absorbed into the very fabric of our being. Another beautiful way to nourish your soul is through prayer. And when I say prayer, I don't mean formal, eloquent speeches. I mean simple, honest conversation. Talk to God as you would to a trusted friend who knows you completely and loves you unconditionally.
Share your joys, your fears, your hopes, your frustrations. Tell him about your day, about the little things that delighted you and the big things that weighed you down. There's no need to filter your thoughts or feelings. He already knows them, and he longs for you to bring them to him. Prayer can also be simply listening. Sometimes we do all the talking, but the deeper nourishment comes when we quiet our own voices and open our ears and our hearts to hear what God might be whispering to us. This might not be an audible voice. It might be a gentle thought, a feeling of peace, a sudden insight, or a quiet reassurance that settles over you. It's in these moments of listening that our souls are truly refilled as we receive wisdom and comfort that the world cannot provide. Imagine a calm lake reflecting the sky. When the surface is ruffled by wind, the reflection is distorted. But when the lake is still, the sky is perfectly mirrored. Our souls are like that lake. When our lives are chaotic and our minds are constantly churning, it's hard to reflect God's peace or hear His voice clearly. But when we create moments of stillness and intentional connection, our souls become calm enough to truly reflect His presence and receive His wisdom.
Another spiritual habit for deep renewal is practicing gratitude. We touched on this slightly before, but it's worth exploring more deeply. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It's a profound shift in perspective. It's actively choosing to notice the blessings, big and small, that are present in your life, even amidst challenges. When we cultivate a grateful heart, we open ourselves up to experiencing more joy, more peace, and a deeper connection to God, who is the source of all good things. A simple practice is to keep a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 to 5 things you are genuinely grateful for. It could be the warmth of your blanket in the morning, the taste of a good meal, a smile from a stranger, the beauty of a sunset, or simply the gift of another day. As you consistently look for things to be grateful for, your brain actually rewires itself to notice more positive things. This isn't about ignoring hardship, it's about choosing to acknowledge the light even when shadows are present. This constant recognition of blessings fills your soul with a deep sense of contentment and trust. What about community? We are not meant to walk this journey alone. Connecting with other people who share your faith, who can offer support, encouragement, and a listening ear is a vital part of soul nourishment. This could be a trusted friend, a small group from a church, or simply a handful of people with whom you can be truly vulnerable and authentic. Sharing your struggles, celebrating your joys, and learning from others' experiences helps us feel connected, understood, and less isolated. It reminds us that we are part of a larger family, a body of believers, all supporting one another on this path. Being in community also offers opportunities to serve others. When we step outside of ourselves and offer our time, our talents, or our resources to help someone else, something beautiful happens within our own souls. It's a profound reminder of our interconnectedness, and it brings a deep sense of purpose and fulfillment that cannot be found in self-focused pursuits. A simple act of kindness, a word of encouragement, a helping hand, these acts of love nourish not only the recipient, but also the giver, filling our hearts with warmth and meaning.
Another powerful spiritual habit is meditation or contemplation. This often involves focusing on a single word, a short phrase, or even just your breath to quiet the mind and open yourself to God's presence. It's not about emptying your mind, but about creating space for clarity, for peace, and for deeper spiritual insight. This can be done in silence or with soft, reflective music. The goal is to gently guide your attention away from distractions and towards the quiet center of your being, where God's Spirit resides. It's a practice of presence, of simply being with God, allowing His peace to permeate your entire being. Sometimes our souls are weighed down by unforgiveness, either unforgiveness towards others or perhaps even towards ourselves. This is a heavy burden to carry, like a stone in our heart. A spiritual habit of profound renewal is the practice of forgiveness. This isn't about condoning hurtful actions or forgetting what happened. It's about choosing to release the bitterness, the resentment, the anger, for your own sake. It's about letting go of the power that past hurts have over you, allowing God's healing grace to flow through those wounded places. This can be a long and difficult process, but it begins with a conscious choice. You can offer a prayer for those who have hurt you, asking God to bless them and to help you release your anger. You can offer yourself grace and forgiveness for past mistakes, knowing that God's love for you is not dependent on your perfection. As you practice forgiveness, you create space for lightness, for peace, and for your soul to breathe freely again. Let's also consider simplicity. In a world that constantly encourages us to accumulate more, to strive for more, to have more, our souls often groan under the weight of too much. A spiritual habit of simplicity is about intentionally choosing less, so that you can experience more presence, more contentment, more freedom. This might mean decluttering your physical space, letting go of possessions you no longer need. It might mean simplifying your schedule, saying no to commitments that drain your energy. It might mean being content with what you have rather than constantly chasing what you don't. When we simplify our external lives, we create more internal space for our souls to breathe and connect with what truly matters. Finally, remember that these spiritual habits are not about earning God's love or proving your worthiness. You are already loved, already worthy, simply because you are His. These habits are simply pathways, invitations to draw closer to Him, to open yourself up to the abundant life He offers. They are tools for your own well-being, for the deep renewal of your soul. Just like a plant naturally turns towards the sun, your soul naturally yearns for God. These habits are simply turning your face towards His light, allowing His warmth and nourishment to permeate every part of you. They are not burdens, but gifts. They are rhythms of grace that can transform your weariness into peace, your emptiness into fullness, and your striving into serene contentment. So, as you continue to rest here in His gentle lap, allow these thoughts to settle deep within you. What small spiritual habit might God be inviting you to cultivate? What gentle step can you take this week to actively nourish your precious soul? You are worth the investment. Your soul deserves this deep, sustaining renewal. Allow yourself to receive it, knowing that in doing so, you are simply responding to the loving invitation of your Creator. As we continue our journey together in this quiet, comforting space, nestled in the gentle presence of God, we've explored the deep peace of His welcome,
the divine rhythm of rest, and the nourishing habits that renew our souls. Now, let's gently turn our attention to something that often keeps us from fully embracing these gifts: the heavy weight of guilt and the beautiful, liberating power of grace. For many of us, even the idea of rest can trigger feelings of guilt, that we're not doing enough, not working hard enough, or that we don't deserve to rest. This subtopic is about understanding that true rest isn't a reward for being perfect. It's an act of trust, a profound embrace of God's unconditional grace. Guilt is a powerful, persistent whisper, isn't it? It tells us we should be doing more, that we've fallen short, that we're not worthy of peace. It can stem from so many places: genuine mistakes we've made, things we've left undone, unmet expectations, either our own or others, or even just the pervasive feeling in our culture that constant busyness equals worth. This relentless inner critic can make rest feel not like a blessing, but like a luxury we haven't earned, or even a weakness. We push ourselves harder, believing that if we just do more, the guilt will eventually subside. But often, it only deepens the exhaustion. Imagine carrying a backpack full of stones. Each stone represents a regret, a missed opportunity, or a perceived failure, or a should have. As you move through your day, you add more stones, growing heavier and heavier until simply standing upright feels like a struggle. This is what it feels like to carry unreleased guilt. It saps your energy, dims your joy, and makes the very idea of sitting down, of laying the burden aside, feel impossible or wrong. But here, in this sacred space, we are invited to consider a different path, the path of grace. Grace is a profound, undeserved gift. It's God's boundless love, compassion, and acceptance, freely given, not because we've earned it, but because He is good. It's the gentle hand that reaches out to lighten your load, not because you've proven yourself worthy, but simply because you are His beloved child. Embracing grace means understanding that your worth is not tied to your performance, your productivity, or your perfection. Your worth is inherent, given by the One who created you with infinite love. Rest, when viewed through the lens of grace, becomes an act of profound trust. It's trusting that God is ultimately in control, that His plans will unfold even if we pause. It's trusting that His love for us is steadfast and doesn't fluctuate based on our output. It's trusting that He desires our well-being and knows that true flourishing requires moments of stillness and renewal. Think about the story of creation again, which we touched on earlier. God rested, not because He had to, but because He chose to set a pattern. He declared the seventh day holy, blessed it as a day of cease and wonder. This wasn't a commandment for toil, but a commandment for rest. It was a gift. When we refuse to rest because of guilt, we are, in a subtle way, refusing a gift from God. We are saying, I can't accept this. I need to keep striving. But God's grace is boundless, always flowing, always available. He offers us rest not as a reward, but as a tender invitation to simply be in His presence. Sometimes our guilt comes from comparing ourselves to others. We see someone else's achievements, their seemingly endless energy,
their perfect balance, and we feel inadequate. We think, I should be doing more. I should be like them. But God crafted each of us uniquely, with our own strengths, our own limits, our own rhythms. Your journey is yours alone, and your need for rest is specific to you. Grace reminds us to release the burden of comparison and embrace our own unique design, trusting that God's plan for our rest is just as perfect as His plan for our work. To truly release guilt, we often need to first acknowledge it. Don't push it away or pretend it's not there. In this quiet space, gently bring to mind any feelings of guilt you might be carrying. What are they telling you? Where do they come from? Just notice them without judgment. Then imagine holding them out, not clinging to them, but offering them up to this loving presence. Picture them dissolving like mist in the morning sun as God's grace washes over them. It's an act of surrender, of letting go, trusting that He can take that burden from you. Embracing grace means accepting that you are imperfect, and that's okay. God doesn't expect perfection from us. He expects our hearts. He knows our struggles, our weaknesses, our tendencies to fall short, and still He loves us. His grace covers our imperfections, not so we can continue in them without care, but so we can be freed from them, free to grow, to learn, to become more like Him. This understanding of grace changes our relationship with rest. Rest stops being a sign of weakness or a luxury and instead becomes an essential part of our spiritual journey. It becomes a testament to our trust in God's sovereignty. When we truly rest, we are implicitly saying, God, I trust you to handle what I cannot. I trust you to provide. I trust you to sustain me even when I am not actively striving. This is a powerful act of faith.
Think of it like this. If a loving parent tells their child, "Go play, go rest, I've got this," and the child insists on trying to help with a task clearly beyond their ability out of a misguided sense of obligation or fear of not being good enough, they're missing the point of the parent's love. God, our loving Father, often tells us, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is His invitation, His provision, born out of deep love. To accept it is to honor His love and trust His care. Releasing guilt also means being kind to ourselves. We're often our own harshest critics. We wouldn't speak to a friend the way we sometimes speak to ourselves in our inner thoughts. Grace extends to self-compassion. It's recognizing that you are doing the best you can with the resources and energy you have. It's acknowledging your limitations without judgment and understanding that those limits are part of being human, part of being a created being, not the Creator. The act of resting is a declaration that you believe in God's goodness. It's saying, I believe your grace is sufficient for me. I believe you will meet my needs. I believe you love me even when I am not producing, even when I am simply being. This is a radical shift from a performance-based mentality to a grace-based existence. It's stepping off the hamster wheel of endless doing and into the spaciousness of simply being loved. What does this look like in practical terms? It means consciously choosing to prioritize rest even when the inner voice of guilt tries to intervene. It means reminding yourself this rest is not selfish, it is sacred. It is how I honor God's design for me. It means giving yourself permission to step away from the endless demands, knowing that by doing so, you are not neglecting your responsibilities, but actually recharging yourself to better meet them with a renewed spirit. If guilt whispers, "You're being lazy," grace whispers back, "You are being restored." If guilt says, "You're falling behind," grace says, "You are aligning with God's pace." If guilt says, "You're not good enough," grace says, "You are loved beyond measure, just as you are." This journey of releasing guilt and embracing grace is a continuous one. It's not a one-time decision, but a daily practice of surrender and acceptance. There will be days when the whispers of guilt are strong, when the pressure to perform feels overwhelming. In those moments, come back to this space. Come back to this gentle presence. Remember this feeling of being held, completely safe and loved. And gently remind yourself of the truth that God's grace is bigger than any guilt, any failure, any perceived shortcoming. His grace is a vast ocean, and your guilt is but a drop. When you cast that drop into the ocean, it is absorbed, lost in the immensity of His love. You don't have to carry it. You don't have to earn your rest. It is freely given, an expression of His profound care for you. So, dear friend, as you linger in this quiet moment, allow yourself to truly release those burdens of guilt. Let them go. Breathe them out, and in their place, breathe in the boundless, refreshing air of God's grace. Embrace it fully. Let it wash over you, cleansing, soothing, restoring. Rest, not as a concession, but as a celebration of His endless love. Rest as an act of profound trust, knowing that in His lap you are always enough, always cherished, always secure in His unfailing grace. Here we are, dear friend, at the close of our time together, yet not truly closing, but settling into a deeper dwelling. We began by inviting you into this gentle, safe presence, into the very lap of God. We've explored the sacred rhythm of rest, understanding that Sabbath is less about rigid rules and more about a loving invitation to cease striving and simply be. Then we looked at practical ways to find stillness amidst the whirlwind of modern life, weaving small, restorative rhythms into our busy days. We considered how to nourish our souls with spiritual habits that bring deep renewal. And most recently, we've gently touched on releasing the heavy burden of guilt, choosing instead to embrace the boundless, liberating power of God's grace, seeing rest itself as a profound act of trust. Now, as our time of focused reflection draws to a close, let's gather all these threads together, allowing them to weave into a single, beautiful tapestry of peace that you can carry with you. Imagine yourself sinking even deeper into this loving embrace, into God's lap. Feel the warmth, the security, the utter acceptance that surrounds you. This is where you belong. This is your true home. This dwelling in His peace
isn't a destination you arrive at and then leave behind. It's a state of being you can return to again and again, a sanctuary within your heart that is always open. The stillness we've sought, the rest we've yearned for, the grace we've embraced, these are not fleeting moments, but invitations to cultivate a continuous awareness of God's presence in your life, no matter what you are doing, no matter where you are. Think of a deep well, constantly flowing with cool, clear water. You can come to it any time, day or night, and draw refreshment. God's peace is like that well. It doesn't run dry. It's always there, ready to replenish your spirit. Our spiritual habits, our intentional moments of rest, our choices to release guilt, these are like lowering the bucket into the well, drawing up the life-giving water for our thirsty souls. As you prepare to gently re-engage with the world, remember that you don't have to carry the weight of everything on your own shoulders. The world does not depend solely on your striving. There is a greater power, a loving hand that holds all things together, and you are invited to lean into that power, to trust that hand, and to allow yourself to be carried even through the busiest of days. This is the essence of dwelling in His peace, understanding that even when chaos swirls around you, there can be a quiet center within you that remains undisturbed. It's like the eye of a hurricane, fierce winds all around, but at the very heart, a profound calm. That calm is God's presence, always accessible, always unwavering. So, how do we dwell there, in that quiet center, as we step back into the flow of life? It begins with memory. Remember this feeling of peace you've experienced here. Remember the gentle invitation to rest, the truth of God's unconditional love. When you feel the familiar pressures beginning to mount, take a moment, take a deep breath, and gently recall this sacred space, this feeling of being held. It's a subtle anchor that can pull you back to your center even for just a few precious seconds.
It's also about extending grace to yourself, not just in releasing past guilt, but in your daily rhythms. There will be days when your intentional pauses are rushed, when your quiet time feels fragmented, when the whirlwind seems to win, and that's okay. Grace reminds us that perfection is not the goal. Progress, however small, is enough. Each gentle attempt to recenter, each small choice for rest is celebrated. Don't let moments of imperfection discourage you. Simply return to the gentle invitation again and again. Remember that God's love is not transactional. You don't have to earn His peace by being perfectly still or perfectly spiritual. His peace is a gift, freely given, because He delights in you. When you choose to rest, when you choose to lean into His presence, you are not earning His favor. You are simply accepting the lavish favor He already extends. You are stepping into the reality of His unwavering love for you. Let's take a moment now for a quiet reflection, a gentle prayer for peace that you can carry with you. You don't need to say these words out loud. Simply let them resonate in your heart. Dearest God, thank you for this time of rest,
for this quiet space in your lap. Thank you for your gentle welcome, for the deep safety I feel here. Help me to remember that rest is your design, a divine rhythm for my soul, not a luxury I must earn. Guide me to find stillness in the midst of my days, to weave practical rhythms of pause and renewal into my life. Show me how to nourish my soul with your presence, through quiet time, through honest prayer, through gratitude, and through meaningful connection. And Lord, I release any lingering guilt, any sense of not being enough. I choose to embrace your boundless grace, trusting that your love for me is unwavering, regardless of my performance. As I go from this moment, help me to dwell in your peace. May your quiet calm be the unshakable center of my being, no matter what challenges I face. I know that I am seen, I am loved, and I am always held in your tender care. May your peace surround me, fill me, and flow through me, today and always. Amen.
Now, slowly, gently, allow your awareness to expand, but hold on to this feeling of deep peace. This sense of being held, of being cherished, doesn't disappear when you open your eyes or step back into your day. It's a wellspring within you, always accessible. The peace of God is not merely the absence of trouble. It is the presence of God Himself. It's an inner calm that can exist even amidst outer storms. It's the assurance that you are never alone, never abandoned, always guided, always sustained. So, dear friend, take this peace with you. Let it be a gentle hum in your heart throughout your week. When you feel overwhelmed, remember to breathe, to pause, to return to this inner sanctuary. When guilt tries to creep back in, remind yourself of grace, of God's infinite acceptance. When you feel weary, remember the invitation to rest, to cease striving, and to lean into His strength. You are a beloved child, held in the lap of infinite love. You are designed for peace, created for purpose, and sustained by grace. Dwell in that truth. Let it be the foundation of your days, the solace of your nights. Rest now deeply, profoundly. Let His peace settle into every part of your being, calming your mind, soothing your heart, and renewing your spirit. You are safe. You are loved. You are at peace, and in His lap you will always find your deepest rest.